I want one trail. One trail with all of the things.
Seriously, Rat Pack's a pack rat of a trail. I don't think I've ever ridden trail bike descent that was this diverse. Some might even say it's eclectic. Motley would almost seem apropos, except the features on this trail line up way too perfectly to be called motley. It's my understanding from conversation as well as observation that back in the day, Rat Pack, like any good trail that's been around a while, was positively framed in with wood features, back when it was still cool to build wood features, back before everyone got tired of replacing derailleurs and waiting for collarbones to heal, and tibias, and ankles. Well, anyway, I can't talk about Rat Pack without first talking about how you get to the top of this trail. There's actually quite a few ways to get to the top of Rat Pack. It just depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. I'm going to go over the most straightforward approach, which is to climb up Ewok, the new climbing trail that ascends from the adorable little town of Roslyn, Washington. Seriously, this town is the cutest. Let's all ruin it by bidding up the real estate. Anyway, the climbing trail starts out on like 2nd Street, just at the edge of Roslyn. Also, there's a trail that goes between Cle Elum and Roslyn that connects Cle Elum to Roslyn. It's called Coal Miners Trail. Rat Pack eventually dumps you out on Coal Miners Trail. So, like, you can pretty much just park wherever you want between the two towns along the route of Coal Miners Trail, which is just a flat railroad bed, and you'll be able to get back to your car. From the Coal Miners Trail, follow trail forks to the bottom of Ewok off of 2nd Street, like I mentioned before. This climb is a brutal assault on your quadriceps for the first mile or so. The actual climbing trail is located at the top of this very steep hill. Also, the trail sign says something silly like Cascade Shadow Ridge or some other fluffy sounding hiker name. I don't remember. But anyway, it's the same trail as Lower Ewok. They just need to give it they have to keep the real name safe from the other users. I don't know. They may feel intimidated by adorable furry little creatures. After the first soul-crushing climb, the trail crosses the road again and proceeds as an actual climbing line. From here on up, it's exactly what climbing trail should be: uneventful and reasonably manageable. The path crosses some cables and these old foundations for what looks like it must have been some mining equipment or something. It's concrete and there's some threaded rods sticking out of it, so it must have been important and destructive. Kind of cool. Eventually, the path breaks out onto the aptly, if not creatively named, Main Ridge Road, which unsurprisingly follows the main ridge of these mountains for a few miles. Upon arriving at the intersection with the road, take a right and travel east for a bit over a mile until encountering a trail on the left called Upper Rat Pack. You don't have to ride this part. It has like one steep hill on it. I mean, you might as well. You're already up here, but you don't have to. If you do, when you get to this fork in the trail, go to the right. Shortly, it'll spit you back out on the road right at the entrance to Lower Rat Pack. Lower Rat Pack is where the real fun starts. First of all, I love that it starts between these two trees. It's a nice touch. This top section requires momentum and vigilance at the same time, as there are curves that swoop up the hill and tight turns that you'll barely fit your handlebars through. From the very top, all your skills are required, all at the same time. The top of Rat Pack contains probably the most epic 2 middle fingers screw you feature I've ever seen in a trail. This one even tops the Vag over at Tiger Mountain. You see, they put these rails up on this really tight chicane just in case you thought you might cut through the trees somewhere to try to get around it. Like, they went to a lot of work to put up these rails. And so, like, I don't know, it's like basically saying ride with some coordination or don't ride this trail at all, I guess. Loser. One of the best characteristics of this trail is its buffness, but it's not easy. It's buff and technical at the same time, like a software engineer who moonlights as a bodybuilder. I'm not quite sure how they pulled this off. Buff and technical. Basically, almost every turn on Rat Pack is tight and heavily banked like you're in a pump track. In fact, pretty much everything that can be shaped into a pump track type feature is shaped into a pump track feature. Everything that could be pumpable is made pumpable. I don't know. That's pumpable. That's a difficult word to say. It's got that same feeling you get on a well-designed pump track too, where, kind of if you're doing it right, you're leaning the bike over, it sort of feels like you're going to wipe out a little bit, but you're actually not. Just tip those bars, lean that frame over. This trail is really narrow, by the way. That narrowness, that tightness is this trail's best feature. It's actually a revelation. It is that's it. That's the reason. This is the reason Rat Pack is buff and technical and not just one long strip of hideous brake bumps. The corridors and turns in here are so tight that riders can never get fast enough to cause brake bumps to happen. It's really quite genius, actually. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that the trail was built this way on purpose. I mean, it had to, right? A human had to do this. Of course, it was all intentional. There's a bunch of remnants of old wood features off to the sides. Sometimes it's just nice to leave some old reminders of days gone by. Anyway, just like almost every other trail system that isn't Post Canyon, most of the wood is gone. My sources tell me the old wood features kind of got sketchy. Who'd have thought wood could get degraded in a forest? Huh. So there is one really pretty awesome skinny left. It's called The Rock. Now, I wasn't even going to look at this, but my friend JM just had to see it, make us turn around and go, we're just going to go look at it, and then we're going to turn around and ride the rest of the trail, right? I mean, I certainly wasn't going to ride it, but you know how it is. Once you see it, you can't not ride it. I mean, really, at that point, it's just too damn late. So whatever you do, don't look at this feature. If by chance you did make the mistake of looking, and now you can no longer resist this bird box, just know that you really need to keep your speed up to make it to the other side. Leave your bike in a lower gear just in case you need to get pedal out, because you're gonna you just lose your momentum on this thing. So because there's nowhere to bail out to. Like if you lose your momentum, you're not gonna be able to bail out. But also don't go too fast, because then you'll overshoot. Well, anyway, that was cool. Continuing down the trail, there seem to be a bunch of other hidden features off to the side you'll be sure to miss if it's your first time down. At least I managed to miss them all and ended up swearing at myself. Stupid me. Further down the trail, there's just more of everything. Like, I don't even want to bother naming all the different types of features. The only things this trail doesn't have are like giant tables and giant gaps. No wall rides either. It's almost easier to just talk about what this trail isn't than what it is. So yeah, it's not a super fast park trail. That's not what it is. And it isn't a super steep hand-built like loam trail. It's nothing like No Service or the People's Elbow. But Rat Pack does have everything else, and its tightness and twistiness makes it the best possible use of the hillside. There's very little pedaling in here, and this trail doesn't waste even a little bit of elevation. The builders seemed determined to use it all to the best possible effect, so there's no pointless steep straight sections that just burn up hard-earned climbing. No, every pedal stroke you invested on the way up is paid back in dividends on the way back down. You made a great decision climbing all the way to the top of this. I did, and I regret nothing. Seriously though, just about everywhere you think you might be able to get some speed up, there's a turn. Or there's a feature. Right before you can get going fast enough to shred up the tread by slamming on the brakes. That's it, right? You can never get fast enough to cause brake bumps. This trail is Joey proof. It's Joey proof. It's brilliant. Eventually, you'll get dumped at this road intersection. Take the road that goes up and to the right. The one that goes down and to the left leads to private property. Don't go that way. Anyway, it all leads back to Coal Miners Trail, which is where you parked. Somewhere. You parked somewhere down there. Go find your car. Have a beer.